Here are all my orc models I own, and these are all the orc models that I've 3D printed. In this video, we're going to go through all these orc models that I've printed. I started collecting orcs in around year 7 or 8 of high school. I don't know what attracted me to orcs. Maybe it's because I feel like you don't have to paint them that neatly, as I was quite a messy painter. But let's move on to my 3D printed models. The first miniature STL producer I started printing orcs with was Puppetswar. Puppetswar have their own unique style, and you can definitely spot one of their orcs when you see it. First off, I got their version of the Storm Boys, or like jetpack orcs. These were the first orc minis that I printed, and they're pretty cool, but at the same time, I don't really like them as they're quite blocky and they're hard to put side by side together as their arms and weapons get in each other's way. I really like how there's a Mandalorian helmet, but unfortunately, unlike GW's Storm Boys, they're kind of static and on the ground, where GW's ones look like they're taking off, or at least the illusion of they're taking off. Next from Puppetswar, I've got their TMNT orcs. So these are supposed to represent the 4 Ninja Turtles, Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello, with their signature different weapons. I thought they were pretty cool. I thought I would have painted these already, but they're on their way there. Next, I have an orc pod racer, which I did a video on, showing off my first attempt at the slap chop method. This was a difficult model to mount as it didn't come with any pre-mounting attachments, so I used a paper clip and had one of its end to give it that, like it was angling and banking on a turn. Next, I have my 3 mega knobs in mega armor. Now, this is a video where I tested out slap chop but under different primes, black, white, and brown. I'm pretty happy with the 2 darker primes, but the one that had a white prime, it just looks too bright. Like, it just looks like there's something wrong with it. It's a little cartoony. I also printed out this War Boss. I really like it. I have a video, and it was one of my first videos where I used my airbrush. I think in hindsight, when I painted it, I dulled down the armor too much by dry brushing it with silver, and it really, it just kind of lost its vibrancy. I should have done a better job at weathering it. I'm currently printing Megzike's model, which is very similar to this design. They're all replicating the Games Workshop War Boss, and I'm hoping to paint that up and show how much I've improved in a year. Last but not least, I have this orc riding a mechanical dragon, basically. Like, this thing is awesome. I'm also disappointed that I haven't painted this one already. One of the arms misprinted. Instead of reprinting the part, I used a bit from my Flesh Eater's corpse box and some green stuff, and I think I blended in pretty well. It's like tricky to notice the difference. Definitely looking forward to seeing what this looks like at the end of the month. I'm trying to get all my orc models, both 3D printed and bought store models, painted by the end of the month, and I'm posting a reel or YouTube short every day updating you on process. Feel free to check those out. Now, the other creator I've used a lot for my orcs is MrModulork. I backed their Kickstarter back in November and was going to make some sick videos until I broke my ankle, but I ended up printing 2 of their squads and a war boss for each of their factions, the Hunter faction, and I don't know exactly, it's the Armor faction or whatever they're called. Definitely going to try get a game of Modulork on the channel sometime in the near future. Their models, when compared to their GW counterparts, are a little bigger. That's because Modulork is a skirmish game, and since you're using fewer models, like, you want them to be a little bigger so they stand out. I printed out a shaman, which I tried some OSL with. I'm not too sold on the effect, but I like the idea that he's kind of got power radiating from his hands and mouth. Next, I started my Goblin Revolution, and you can check out the video in the link above. We've got 6 tanks. There's so many different options with the bits that come from these 2 tank kits. You could make a fleet of tanks so easily. I'm definitely going to be using some of these bits to repair my war truck from when I was in high school. That's like got 2 cork wheels. I have a whole bunch of troops. I've updated my Grot General Carl to Carl 2.0. We also have some heavy gunner teams. Like the other infantry, I scaled down these infantry by 90%, as at their original size, they were the same size as a GW Orc Boy. I do like the bigger scale though from MrModulork. It's easier to paint, and you can just see the detail a lot easier. Finally, I have my big orc boy riding the worm banshee, or the giant tyrannid. This guy was a little tricky to assemble, but I'm in love with just like how it looms over the rest of the army. I'm really looking forward to using it in like a creative narrative scenario for a game, and looking forward to just touching it up and finishing some highlights. If you're interested in 3D printing, give this channel a follow, as I'm not done with printing yet, even though we're really going hard on painting this year. Let me know if you think I'll get everything finished for October. If you'd like to watch some other hobby related videos, you can click over here. Thank you for watching, and happy hobbying.